Hey guys, welcome to Traditional Bow Hunting Wilderness Podcast. This is Jason Samkoviak, and we are back again, this time with another one on hunting and off-road vehicle myths. You guys love these vehicle ones, and I get so many questions on them. So we're going to break this one down here for you too. A couple myths, couple things that people think are legit and they're not. So we're gonna cover them. First one is better than the other. I get this all the time, okay? You're an idiot for buying a Ram truck. Oh, you need to have a Ford. And then when I had my Fords, it was, oh, you should have bought a Chevy. And let me get something perfectly straight right now. I don't care what anybody thinks. Ford, Chevy, Dodge, Toyota, Nissan, I don't care what it is or who it is. They all have problems. Doesn't matter what it is. You may buy a Ram and have issues with the brakes, and you might buy a Ford and have issues with all the sensors going bad and electrical issues that they have. You might buy a Chevy and have it be what Consumer Reports this year is calling the least reliable truck in the world. Yet I have three buddies that own brand new Chevy Trail Bosses, and they absolutely love them. One guy's got 40,000 miles on them with no problem. But Consumer Reports calls it the worst reliable pickup of 2020. You see what I'm getting at? Point being, don't buy into any of that crap. They are all made the same. They all have the same issues. They all have they all have some version of a problem or another. Buy the one you like the best and forget what your friends and your family tell you that Ram sucks or that Chevy sucks or that Ford's number one, Ford's the best thing in the world. Don't buy into any of that crap, okay? There isn't one better than the other. They're all very expensive to repair. They all have to be done at the dealer for most of the stuff now these days. They all have issues. All of these parts are outsourced from so many other places. It is what it is. Even Toyota. Toyota is considered the king of reliability, and for good reason, and it has been for many years. Now, since like 2017, you got frames that are rotting out, you got problems that are going bad on them, you got all kinds of reliability issues with them. They're still a great truck. Everything out there has their issues. Quit worrying that you have to buy this or that. Find the one you like, buy it. Plain and simple. Forget all that other stuff. So that one there, completely irrelevant on every level. I don't care what anybody says. That's my opinion. All this is obviously my opinion, but steeped in fact as well. Resale value is most important. I hear this one a tremendous amount. Oh, you got to buy this because it's got better resale value. Resale value is important, but it is far from most important. The reason I say that is the most important thing when you're buying this vehicle is to get it for the best price. If you do not buy it cheap, it doesn't matter what the sale value is later on. You're not going to get as much money, okay? Understand that. I just got rid of a Jeep Renegade, a sport four-wheel drive sport package Renegade that I paid $16,500 for brand new. I drove it, put almost 30,000 miles on it, drove it for 12 or 13 months and turned around and sold it, and I made over $1,000 on that, over what I paid for it when I sold it after only 1 year. Okay, that is like one of the worst resale value vehicles out there. It has like one of the lowest ratings of resale value, yet I made more money in 1 year with 30,000 miles than I paid for it brand new because I got it for a steal brand new. So resale value, yes, but most important is your buy. This is where it matters. You need to steal it price-wise. You don't do that, nothing else matters in that whole financial aspect. If you can't steal it in the beginning, you're not going to make the money you need at the end, I promise you. So I have a course down below. It's in a link for you. If you want information for it, I'll actually have it running on the screen for you too. But that will teach you how to buy them for the right price. But this is the most important. If you do not do that, nothing else matters. The resale values are relevant. Will you do okay? Yeah, fine. You might do better if you're, whatever the case is. But if you don't buy it for the right price, you're sunk. Now, next one. Bigger lift is better. I get a lot of people with this one asking about this stuff. Okay, now I'm not an off-road guru, but I know quite a bit about this stuff. I don't, it's always been a dream of mine, but I live in a place where we don't have many. But we talk about when I actually retire enough from one job, or I get more free time in the summertime freed up, that we would like to maybe join like some Jeep clubs in like Ohio and Indiana and Pennsylvania and hit some of these places and do some of these off-road adventures. And I mean, it's always been a passion of mine. I love it. Have never been able to really do it much because of timing, but I see a lot of this stuff. But people think a bigger lift is better. When you lift a vehicle, the general rule of thumb pretty much along everybody that does this hardcore into this will tell you the same thing, and that is only lift the vehicle high enough to get the tire size in there that you need. Anything higher than that is kind of defeating the purpose. See, when you think about it, let's look at here. Oh, is that still in there? Yeah, there we go. But if you take a solid axle rear end, so here's your differential right here in your axle, okay? This is your back end, and your tires are here like this. It doesn't matter whether that body sits right here or that body sits right here. It's irrelevant because this is your ground clearance issues. Okay, this is what's going to get hung up. So where that body is doesn't make any difference. There's no benefit to that whatsoever. Maybe a little bit, but not really much in there, okay? So realistically, but then the other side of that issue is that when you look at your tires on here, here's your tires on the front. You put a bigger lift on, you're taking those axles. Now if it's a front, now this is your rear end differential, but most vehicles today, other than like Jeeps and things like that, they got a solid front axle, but even we'll use like a pickup truck or a hunting vehicle where you have CVs in the front end, those CV axles are designed to go like this to that front transfer case, okay? Well, when you start lifting it and you lift that up higher, what ends up happening is this transfer case is up there now, and these end up doing this, okay? They end up doing that. And those angles on your componentry become a major issue, and they cause a lot of stress and unnecessary wear on those. You will wear those parts out quicker because of their angles that they're on versus straight line. They become much weaker. You run into a lot of problems. Now, if you have a truck with a 6 or 8 or 10 inch lift, am I going to give you crap? No, they look amazing. I'm not knocking them whatsoever. I'm just telling you that they're not a benefit, not that much benefit to you off-road. When your vehicles in the woods get higher, they got a higher area where they're going to be hitting branches, overhanging branches, can't get under logs, can't get through things that are there, and it become an issue. But on the same note, they become very top heavy and tippy. So when you get into off camber, you start moving over some rocks, things like that, there's a better tip over factor too. So realistically, bigger lift is not technically better. Are they cool? Yes, they are. But do they benefit you any? No. Lift it as high as you need to fit whatever size tires you want on there. If you have a Jeep, you can fit 35s on there with no lift. You put a 2.5 inch lift, you can go 37s. You put a 3.5 inch lift, you can go 35s. You start going higher than that, you start running into all kinds of extra drop down brackets and things that you have to add in there to make all these things happen. and they work, but you're losing functionality. And also keep in mind, the higher you go, the worse the ride quality gets. There's no denying that. Nobody will ever deny that. Nobody ever put a 6 inch lift on something and said, oh my God, it rides so much better than it did stock. Nobody has ever said that. So just keep that in mind. Bigger lifts, although I'll never knock them, they look really cool and they're a great thing. They are not really a benefit to you once you get past the lift size you need for whatever tires you want to have on there. Now, next one on here too. Bigger tires are better. This is a sort of a yes, but a little different. Okay, bigger tires, yes, give you more ground clearance. So yes, that is an advantage to you. Bigger tires will give you a bigger footprint, but understand that people think that backwards, okay? They think, you hear people say air down your tires when you're off-road. It gives you a bigger traction pad, and you're right, it does. But that doesn't mean that this right here being the ground, and when you air down your tire, you get that bulge. This is not the distance that people are, this is not the reality of what gets you anything, okay? That width, that doesn't really benefit you. That, especially in sand and snow and mud and soft stuff where you need it. Now on rocks, that's a benefit. But in most of the stuff, that is not going to benefit you too much. The most important benefit of that is when you have a tire that is round and does this. Okay, this distance, so if this is your wheel is right here, this is your actual wheel, when you look at it, this patch is the most important. This is what matters, is that distance, not the width, because the width is just going to be a wider width, but in front of the tire is where you have, if you have a tire here, you get ground here that's in front or here that's behind you that you have to fight your way over. Okay, that's soft snow, sand, whatever it is, but you have to push up out of that to get in that direction. The width of that doesn't really do anything for you, but the length does. When you can extend that length and get a longer pad from front to back of your wheel when you air down, that's where the benefit comes in. That patch, not the width patch, the length patch. That's the important factor. So those are definitely a nice thing for bigger tires. But now keep in mind, things that people don't realize, when you go with bigger tires, you are increasing weight out on the end of a wheel, on the end of an axle. That weight is just, any pound you put there matters, is noticeable, okay? Well, when you add bigger tires, you are adding significant weight to the outsides of there. And then you need to be doing or thinking about re-gearing, okay? We had our Jeep, we had 3 Jeeps. We had our 2000 and, our 2006 Jeep went through everything like a champ with stock 32 inch, well, we put 32 inch tires on it and it did really well. When we bought our 2010, we put a 2.5 inch lift on it and put 35 inch tires on there, and it was nice, but those tires took so much power away from that vehicle. Even being a manual, I lost 6th gear, could never even use it for anything. If I put it in 6th gear, it just slowed right down. It was worthless. You lose, because of all that extra weight out there, you lose a lot of gearing. So it has to be re-geared. So the bigger tires you put on there, way more performance you're losing, way more, your gearing is all out of whack and you don't have the lower end power that you think you do, or that you wish you did, because you have all that bigger tire and extra weight. So there's a lot of benefits to them, but there's also that fine line of balance. For example, Jeeps. Let's look at a Jeep Wrangler. You're going with 32s that are on its stock, you're going to be just fine for whatever you want to do. You go to a 33, you're going to be fine. You go to a 34, you're going to be fine. You go to a 35 1250, you're going to notice major power losses. You go to a 37 1250 and you better be re-gearing, otherwise people are going to laugh at you because you're just a road Jeep. You can't go off-road at all with it. And if you do, you're going to struggle like crazy without re-gearing it. Re-gearing them means that you have to, and it costs anywhere from $700 to $1,000 per axle, front and rear, but you will have to actually change that gear ratio. Inside that differential, when you come here, here's a differential pig right here, and inside there you got a pinion gear that's right here, and you got your other gears that come into it. You're going to have to change that gearing out inside of there to re-accommodate those wheels. So bigger tires are better, but there's a lot of fine-tuning and there's a balancing act in there. And if you don't play that balancing act right, you could be in a world of trouble there. It may not benefit you, and you'll be going backwards rather than forward. And understand that a taller tire is way more valuable off-road than a wider tire. Nothing wrong with wide. I like the look of them, and I like that good mix. But it is the height of the tire that gives you the most benefit when you air down rather than the width of the tire. That doesn't really help you too much in the soft stuff. It's the height that gives you that longer pad. So those are important to understand too. Bigger rims. People think too, especially today, it really does piss me off that so many trucks have gone to 20-inch rims. 20-inch rims, okay? A 20-inch rim off-road is no good. Okay, if you want for off-road and for that kind of stuff, you want more tire, less rim. Let's give you an example. If we got a 20-inch rim right here, okay, this is the rim, and then you have a tire right here around it, and then you have a 18-inch rim, okay, right here, and you have the tire around it, and then you go to a 17-inch rim right here, and you have that same size tire around it. You can kind of see the differences here, okay? Yes, I am quite the artist. You can applaud. I'll actually sign these for you later. But when you look at this, when you air this down, you have no sidewall. There's nothing there. Your rim is basically on the ground. There's nothing there for that tire to grip and go over rocks. If you're coming up a trail and you hit a rock right here, your tire is designed to, here's your rim, your tire is designed to conform to that rock like that as it climbs up and over. If you don't have any, you can't do that. When you go to air that tire down, there is no sidewall to bulge to spread that tread pattern out, fore or aft or left or right. So you don't gain anything there. With these, you have all of this sidewall from here to here that you can work with that can be aired down, that can flex and bite over rocks, it can do things, and you also have less rim damage because you have so much protection here in the sidewall versus no protection here in the sidewall. And here just takes it even further. Plus, here you have so little cushion in that tire to absorb the bumps, the washboards, the misery. This ride becomes much worse than this ride does, where you have that little bit of cushion. Even here in the 17 where you got all that cushion, you have so much more, you know, suspension in the tires to soak that stuff up. So bigger rims, no, there is no benefit to them. Do they look cool? Yes, they do. And that's why most people get them. And I'm not knocking them and taking them away from anybody. I had 20-inch rims we have 20-inch on our Ram right now. I just bought Tina new wheels for that. I went to 18s. Okay, this is what I want. That, I'm not a fan of that. And when you're, you know, great, big rims are great for on the road. Off-road, you need that sidewall flex. You need that sidewall there. You need that protection. You need that suspension. So for off-road, bigger tires, bigger rims, they are not a better deal. You know, now payload capacity. Okay, payload and towing capacities. This is something that people need to look into and understand, and many people do not. When it comes to towing capacities, people think, well, it's a half-ton truck. It's a F-150, a Chevy 1500, a Ram 1500. They're all going to be the same. Not even a little bit. When we had our Ford F-150, at the time, last F-150 we had, a F-150 could tow 10,000 pounds, and the best a Chevy could do was like 7,500 pounds. So completely different worlds on that kind of stuff. Huge differences in there. So, and then also, people don't understand that the more accessories you add to a vehicle when you buy it. So let's say you were buying I'll just throw some numbers out there. Say you're buying an F-150 XL model with just a little half back seats, okay, little whatever they call that, a regular extended cab, and you bought it with a long bed on there, and you got that truck in a four-wheel drive. That truck will have a much higher tow rating than the same kind of truck with an extended, or with a Super Crew full-size cab, short bed, and adding in the like the King Ranch edition where you have the leather seats, you have the updated consoles, you have all these other bells and whistles. All that stuff adds weight and reduces the capabilities of that tow capacity and the payload capacity. Things that you have to consider. But you need to check that. Tow capacity-wise, give you a perfect example. Take a four-door Jeep Wrangler or even I don't know, actually I can't verify the Gladiator, I think it's the same, but let's take a four-door unlimited Jeep Wrangler. Okay, that thing can only tow 3,500 pounds. Take my little Jeep Cherokee Trailhawk, it can tow 4,500 pounds. I can tow 1,000 more pounds of my little V6 Jeep Cherokee than I can with a full-size, you know, Jeep Wrangler four-door unlimited. So you need to dive into that per your vehicle, per your VIN number, to know exactly what your vehicle can tow. You're fine, T. Sorry, she's over there getting stuff done, and she's looking at me like she might be interfering. Then the other thing too is payload capacity. Every vehicle has a payload capacity. It is important for you to know this. Scenarios that people get into that they don't realize. Let's look at the Ram Power Wagon. It's a 2500 series truck. Huge truck, amazing truck, probably our next truck. But that Ram Power Wagon only has 1,500 pound payload capacity. It means it can only hold 1,500 pounds of gear and people in that truck. That's pretty low for that size truck. It's based on that ultra soft suspension designed for off-road of that truck. But you got to take these things into consideration. Same with a Jeep Wrangler. A Jeep Wrangler has got like 1,000 pounds of payload capacity. Understand that. 1,000 pounds is nothing, but it's because of that suspension being soft. But 1,000 pounds capacity. Next time you're driving around and you see a Jeep that's got 37-inch wheels on it, they have a front bumper, steel front bumper with a winch, light bars on the top. They got the steel back bumper with the big wheel. You know, they put that huge matching 37-inch spare on the back on that huge cargo bar setup on there. They are already over capacity. They're already over, they are breaking the law. That vehicle cannot be on the road like that. It's over payload capacity when you put a couple people inside of it, because it can only hold 1,000 pounds. You put 600 pounds of gear on that truck, that means you can basically have 4 100-pound kids in that car, or 2 200-pound adults and nothing else, and you're overweight. So understand that. I mean, people do it all the time. We see them everywhere, all over the roads, but it is something that is worth understanding, and they are not equal for all vehicles. You have to dive in deep to figure this out. Next one on there, lifts and mods void warranties. You got to check with whatever warranty you're going to get, but usually that is false. Now, engine mods will void a warranty, but we're not doing many engine mods for our hunting and off-road vehicles. Usually what we're doing is wheel mods, tire mods, suspension mods, as far as like lift kits, things like that, bumper mods, adding a winch, any of these kind of things, adding rock rails in there, that sort of stuff. Very few of that stuff will void a warranty. Like even on my Cherokee, I looked it up when I bought it because this stuff matters. But my Cherokee from Chrysler, I can do up to a 2-inch lift on that car. I can do a 2-inch lift on there and not void my warranty whatsoever. Now if I go higher than that, it does. For the things that we were talking about, bigger lift is better here, and I was talking about the the CV axle geometry and things like that. That becomes an issue, and they know that when you get above 2 inches, that stuff starts to cause stress and becomes a problem. So they say, no, up to 2 inches, we will let you keep your warranty. Above that, you go higher than that, we will not. So these are things that you need to keep into consideration and check your warranty, but usually tires, wheels, any of that stuff is not going to modify or void a warranty. Any accessories you add to the vehicle are usually not going to void a warranty. And lift kits, as long as they are moderate, small in size but big enough to do what you need, but if they are smaller in size where they're not going to stress components and cause issues, they are usually still covered under warranty. Now they're not going to cover your aftermarket parts. If you put on a Carly suspension with Carly shocks and springs on there, the dealer's not going to warranty those, but they will not let it void your warranty for anything else that happens to the car. So you need to understand that when you're going to start changing things up and making things better for you. And then bigger vehicles are better off-road. This is completely false, and I'm finding this out more and more regularly here, but it is not true. You have, and I've done other videos on this, but just understand, the bigger a vehicle is, the harder it's going to fit through the woods. The worse your approach or your breakover angles are going to be. The harder it is to turn around in places. The more scratched up it's going to be because it's not that size, or these trails are only so wide with brush, branches, sticks, things like that. And also, if you're a big vehicle, you have to run, if the trail is only this wide, because this is all sticks, stumps, and brush, and your vehicle is this wide, wheel-wise, okay, that's the only place you can drive. So you have to deal with every rut, pothole, root, everything that's there. You have to be there. If your vehicle is only, if we remove that and we take that vehicle size down, we'll leave that wheel there. But if we take that down and your vehicle size is now this size, you have the option to move left or right either way you need to be over here and here, or wherever you need to be to avoid all the ruts and the holes and the stuff that's there, and it gives you a lot more opportunity. With the breakover angle, if you're coming out of a hole, here's a hole, and your vehicle is coming out of this thing here, here's a wheel here, here's a wheel here, and you're coming out of that hole. If your vehicle is too long to get over that, you're going to crash right here. If this distance from here to here is shorter, which lets this wheel get into here, this will get up there, now you're not going to crash. It gives you, the smaller the vehicle is, the better it's going to be. I'm not going to spend a lot of time on this. Just know that, but bigger vehicles, they carry more stuff. Do they have better tow ratings? Not necessarily. You have to look into that. Do they have better payload capacities? Not necessarily. You have to look into that. But usually they are bigger in size, so you have more room to carry things. But are they the best benefit for you? You need to find that balance for what you're doing. I'm not saying there's anything wrong with big vehicles. We have a Ram 2500. I also have a Cherokee. And I'm telling you, they both have their pros and cons and advantages. So, but you'll have to figure that out. As far as trucks are best for hunting, another myth. one that I've proven to myself time and time again. Do I love trucks? Yes. I will never not have a truck. Fortunately, my wife loves that truck, so we have it. So it lets me play with a lot of other cars while we have that main truck. But if I have a choice to go on any hunting trip in the woods, to go out there looking for deer, to go on a Jeep ride or a trail ride, just to be out in the woods in any kind of way, shape, or form, do I choose, and I have the choice of that Ram truck, Ram 2500, plus I've also spent the last 10 years owning F-150s, and I have that Cherokee, and I also had that Renegade, and we have a Jeep Compass. Of all of these vehicles, I choose that Cherokee every single time. Every single time, whether I'm hunting or just playing in the woods. It does so many things better in the woods, and the suspension is so much softer. I am smaller in size, so I can get through these trails better. There's a lot of advantages to it. I put a jet sled right in the back end. All my gear is inside, kept dry. I don't have to go park somewhere, and then if I want to go walk in and take a look at an area, I don't have to grab my sticks, my stand, and all my crap out of the back end and put it inside to lock it so nobody steals it. Everything is already in. It's perfect. Sometimes trucks are great. I'll never not have one, and I'll never fault anybody for it, and I'll never knock them. I'm just saying keep an open mind sometimes, because I'll tell you what, some of these SUVs out there are straight up amazing for the hunting stuff. I cannot say it any better way. So, but this is just one of probably a few of these that we'll do throughout this year, kind of thing in the off season from hunting. But like I said, a lot of you guys like this stuff. So there you go, a couple of myths kind of broke down for you, and I hope you enjoyed it. Talk to you soon. Bye.